people at least can, get a breath. It's ludicrous.
I heard you like 8 years ago filling in, doing shows about mortgage fraud. What is it like? It's one thing to see the documents, but again, to see them freeze 5 major banks, including the biggest, Bank of America, freezing all the foreclosures because it's total fraud. I mean, I was talking to a high-powered lawyer today, and he said, yeah, this is destroying confidence. I mean, people are really... I tuned into 590 AM this morning, and they were reading my article from Prison Planet about troops announcing they're preparing to take over U.S. cities, and these 2 hosts that had been attacking, making fun of me for years. I mean, I'm on the station, so are you. You're coming up in just a little while. Mm-hmm. But to hear them saying it's all real, and almost every caller, George, this is incredible.
It's vindication time, Alex. And that's the important thing. And that's the main reason I'm calling you today, not to talk about me, but to congratulate you on what you've done, sticking your neck out way before I did, putting yourself on the front lines. I look at you as a lieutenant in a battle with me, but you're the kind of lieutenant, not like some of them in Vietnam that hid behind trees. You're one of the guys that goes right up there to the front lines with your troops. And you need to be commended for that.
Well, George, it's just great having you. I don't want to keep you any longer if you can't stay, but so much is happening. We had Lou Dobbs on today, so many others. And Lou Dobbs actually sent me an email and said, I appreciate what you're doing. I mean, to have Lou Dobbs telling me that and wanting to come on the show, it's so crazy that Judge Andrew Napolitano, super hardcore, #1 show on Fox Business in only 4 months, about to get a mainline show, not just on Fox Business. He'll probably end up being on mainline Fox. To see Glenn Beck now coming all the way out about poisoning the water, massive extermination, death camps just last week. To see not just, myself and you and others who've been doing this for years, but to see others, it's so, as you said, vindicating. It's scary, though. I mean, I can hardly sleep at night, George.
Well, stay healthy. That's the most important thing, Alex. We need you. And just watch your back, and we'll watch it, too, for you.
Well, what else is coming up on Coast to Coast AM tonight?
Well, it's throughout the entire week. I've been traveling a lot. We picked up an affiliate in New York, WOR. We went from being number 28th, that station did, 28th in the market at night, to number 1 in 4 months. So we've been popping champagne over that. And things at Coast to Coast just continue to grow now, 540 stations, as you've said, millions of listeners every night. We stream on XM, as you do. And, all is well. Just go back and forth between Los Angeles and St. Louis. My kids are in St. Louis. The main studios are in L.A., and the network just gave me approval to build a small studio in Hawaii whenever I go out that way. And I'm just trying to, branch myself out all around the country in North America. Many affiliate visitations and conferences. I've got one in Los Angeles on Saturday at the Conscious Life Expo, where I'm speaking at a panel with a lot of our similar guests, Jim Mars and folks like that are going to be on it. So you keep busy, and you know what that's like. I mean, you have to find time for your family and your own privacy, but the job comes first. And like it or not, you've got to be able to get that message out to the world, and the only way you can do that is to keep working.
Well, George Norrie, I want to get you on my official radio show from 11 to 2 in the next few weeks to talk about all this UFO stuff, because obviously there's hundreds of billions of galaxies that Hubble has photographed. NASA announced, as you know, and others, that they got this signal from a planet that keeps coming that looks like it's a communication. I mean, I'm not naive. I'm not delusional, kind of like the Vatican 500 years ago said the Earth was the center of the universe and the sun orbited it. I mean, we know that wasn't right. They were doing the best they could. So there's no doubt there's stuff going on. There's no doubt Ezekiel and other books of the Bible like Genesis talk about, literal giant craft with fire coming out and guys with blue helmets on and giving people stuff and genetic engineering and Noah and all the rest of it. But then to have Project Bluebeam, and I want you to finish up with this, and I appreciate your time, and I'm honored to have you here, coasttocoastam.com. But Project Bluebeam, where they admit they have a plan to have giant projections, holograms, all of this, and to have Earthlings saying the aliens are going to show up over New York on the 13th or 14th, and I've looked at the photos. I mean, it looks like a spaceship. It's certainly not balloons. I mean, we had Kissinger and Reagan talk about aliens unifying us, and we know that's a program. I mean, what's your bottom line gut? You know, you always talk about going with your gut, and I agree with that, George. That's where 110% together on that. What do you think from your, I mean, there's nobody out there except for maybe Art Bell, and you were on, you know, years before even him on your own show, who've done more research on this. What do you think's really going on? What are they getting us ready for?
I think it's the new world order. I think this is their big push. I think if we were being visited directly by extraterrestrials and they wanted us to know who they are, they would have done it by now. Those visits are being done, and they just don't want us to know about it. And I'm talking about the ETs. I think what's going on right now could be a worldwide phenomenon where governments have decided now's the time. Let's pull out all the stops. We see what's going on. You know, they want a cashless society. They want to chip everybody. They keep doing all this. Well, this was part of a plan. We talked about this 3 years ago, that, you know, look out for the false flag of a UFO invasion. And, you know, here it comes. It is all over the place.
Well, that's what David Icke said today on an hour-and-a-half interview. He said there's a real outside influence. They want to cover that up, and to do that, they've got to produce the hoax so they dominate and control it.
Exactly, and that's what I think could be going on as well.
George, in closing, they're announcing what we saw years ago in the internal documents that leaked to us, and you covered it, that they want to take the pension funds. In fact, you guys gave me a mainstream news article where the federal government is announcing they want a VAT tax. Here it is. Will the new debt commission back a VAT? I mean, again, all these people that made fun of you and made fun of myself and Ron Paul and many others, I mean, they've got to be, you know, really eating crow right now, because world government's out in the open, paying taxes to the private bankers that engineered all this is out in the open. And they're saying, yeah, VAT, national sales tax, paid to the UN, paid to the IMF World Bank, and we're going to do all this to you and take your pensions to protect them. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, in closing, the people of this country aren't going to put up with it, because you and I and many others understood what was happening and it got made fun of, but told the truth for years. I think we caught them with their pants down. George?
We are so far ahead of the curve, so far ahead, they can't stop us now. You know, it's like a horse race, Alex, and we all start off doing what we do, and you come around the track, but we hit the home stretch, and we're never looking back, my friend.
What are your listeners? I mean, I listen all the time when I'm driving home at night, or I listen to rebroadcast, or I listen to the Streamlink podcast I've got. I subscribe to it on my iPhone. But, I mean, what are your listeners saying? What is the mood out there for a guy that talks to 16 million people?
They're frustrated. They're concerned. You know, we've always told them, follow the money, see who benefits, and you'll find out your answers 99% of the time. That there are no coincidences, that things happen for a reason. And I think they're beginning to look at that. But there is a mood of incredible frustration out there. The next presidential election, whether it will be a cookie cutter fed to us, where both candidates, when they eventually become the two major party candidates, are served up on our platter. And as you've always said, you know, they're puppets and there's the puppet masters. It's going to be an interesting election in a couple of years. I just think that, you know, the American public generally, they're pretty fed up with everything. It's not just a slap against Bush or a slap against Obama. They're fed up with government. They're fed up with being treated the way they're being treated. And I would hope one day that people will get into office who say, you know what, let's take a real close look at why we're hated worldwide and why there's terrorism, and fix all those things. But then you're going to have the other problem, and that is those people who want to benefit will continue creating terrorist acts in order to continue to create the problems on this planet. So that's the battle right there. Even if we had a utopia, if we all loved each other, there's a group out there that would create false impressions of terrorism, havoc, and mayhem throughout the planet in order to benefit their own agenda. And that's what we need to be aware of.
Well, I couldn't say it any better. George Norrie, coasttocoastam.com. And you're going to be on in about an hour and 10 minutes live on your own transmission. And the more I've researched this is my final point because I know you got to go. The more I've researched this, I realize that when I go back 9 years ago and I said George Bush blew up the towers or any of this, George Bush, when you actually study it, was scared and left Washington, and somebody had his secret codes, and it looks like they wanted to fly Flight 93 into the Capitol. And the more I research it, he was just a teleprompter reading puppet like President Obama. And when you really study these synthetic networks, it's a group above governments.
Absolutely. I've always told you, Alex, when we got into this, that there's that bigger group out there that's controlling all this. And that, our direct public officials did not say, let's do this. People above them got involved with these other terrorists. You call them contract help, and decided, let's do this for the common good. I mean, so in my opinion, when we say government was involved, no, but there were sinister elements within government that knew what was going on, and they turned their back. When I was in New York, I was at Ground Zero, which is still a very eerie place to be and sad place to be. And I looked around trying to image in my mind the buildings of the World Trade Center, the building number 7, and I looked at the other buildings in the area, and I said, there's just no way they could all go down by being hit by these planes by themselves. And I came away from that just convinced more than ever that there's much more to this than meets the eye.
Well, you're absolutely right, and when you study it, it's so sophisticated and it's so painful that so many people can't admit it to themselves. But bottom line, whatever happened with 9/11, we know from the MIAC reports law enforcement sent me and the Homeland Security reports and all the new ones in Pennsylvania that almost the entire Homeland Security apparatus is pointed at gun owners, conservatives, libertarians, returning veterans, Ron Paul, Bob Barr, and myself and others. And that's not right. And so we know it's a bait and switch. And it's so scary to know this is happening. And it's like a bad ride you can't get off of. It just needs to end. But, George, I've said it a million times, and I really do want to tell you, I fundamentally appreciate you because to take the #2 radio show in the world and to covering a wide spectrum of stuff to really introduce super hardcore issues like you've done, it's trailblazing, and I'm very, very thankful. And I just want to thank you for everything you've done.
Well, many more, and thank you to your audience too, Alex, who many, many years ago started sending me emails and calling me about you when I wasn't aware of you, and started telling me about what you did, and to start listening to you, and to start reading, your websites, Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And those were really the people, your listeners. Those were the ones who got me interested in finally getting you on Coast to Coast. And, yeah, I took a chance. I took a chance with a guy named Alex Jones. But it was the guts of your listenership, the fortitude of those people, to have the guts to call me and get in touch with me and say, George, you got to give this guy a listen. And they did that. So I want to thank them too, Alex.
Well, I want to thank them, and I've said this on your show. I mean, it's true. I mean, out of everything we've done, the listeners are the main reason we've gotten the word out. In my continued work and research. But 7 years ago now, when I started going on Coast to Coast AM, out of everything we've done, Ron Paul coming on the show and endorsing me, everything we've done, all the hard work, there's nothing out there. Even the videos online, seen hundreds of millions of times. That's one of the big issues that's gotten the word out for this broadcast. I tell people it was George Norrie betting on me, putting this controversial guy on, I know under pressure, that literally supercharged everything I've done. And, George, I want to thank you, and I really appreciate it because, most talk show hosts are egomaniacs. They're jealous and envious. They're highly competitive. And I hear you not just with me, but many other talk